H.H.S.B.Kesava Swami Maharaj, Swami Radharani Swami Maharaj ki. We hope this is the beginning of many, many more trips for Maharaj to be in Toronto. As we gather Maharaj, thank you. Before I introduce Maharaj, we just want to remind everyone that we have an upcoming festivity of Radharani, which is scheduled to be on the Friday, the September 22nd or 23rd, the Friday, setting up our consciousness for this upcoming festival of Radharani. But before that, a brief background about His Holiness Swami Bhagavad-gita Swami. Maharaj is a spiritual author, community mentor, dynamic teacher, and a worldwide traveler. For over 20 years, Keshav Maharaj was a resident monk at Iskcon UK's headquarters called the Bhaktivedanta Manor. Many of you might know it's a very famous center around the world, and off late it's been getting lots of attention for the wonderful service that they've been doing. Maharaj was a pioneer for the School of Bhakti, which is also based out in the manor. He led the monastic training program and drove forward many national outreach projects. And in the last year, 2022, Keshav Swami accepted vows of lifetime renunciation. And he is known for traveling around the world, setting up corporate programs, university outreach, spiritual communities, so many more. And as I mentioned, this is Maharaj's very first time, so let's welcome him with all our hearts. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So much. It's a real honor to be here. And yes, thank you for the opportunity to share some words with you this afternoon. I grew up in London. My parents are from India, but I grew up in London. I went to university there. And when I was 15, I began reading the Bhagavad-gita. Of course, we always had the Bhagavad-gita as it is on our shelf at home. But for the most part, it remained as it is on the shelf. And something within me at the age of 15 impelled me to try to understand this wisdom. And ever since then, for over, what is that now? I'm going to give away my age here. For over 25 years, I've tried to study the Gita. So I come in front of you not as a master of knowledge. I come in front of you not as someone who knows it all. I come in front of you not as your guru, but I come in front of you as a fellow person on the journey. I've tried to share some thoughts with you, and hopefully some of the things we say will be relevant and inspiring and maybe thought-provoking. Yes, thank you very much. Is anyone here for the first time ever? Iskcon, like I put my hand up for a start. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Thank you for being so open-minded and coming. So we usually sing this song, as all of you know. It's a very beautiful song, Jai Radha Madhav. The ancient teachers explained that this world is just a transit lounge, just here for some time. We all came from different places, and when time is up, we all go to different places. But here in these moments here, we have the opportunity to decide what the next destination is going to be. And so we sing this song, Jai Radha Madhav, because it reminds us that ultimately we're trying to go back to the spiritual world. The spiritual world is a place in which every step is a dance, every word is a song, every act is an act of love. In the spiritual world, the reality exceeds all of your dreams. And the spiritual world is where we belong. And so we sing this song to remind ourselves of that beautiful place known as Vrindavan, the playground of God. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Inquiries on your mind, then we can have also a little bit of a discussion. Nowadays, people have a very, very short attention span, so we have to always keep things dynamic. We have to keep things moving. Once there was a taxi driver and a priest, and they both died at the same time. So they reached the heavens, the gates to heaven. And when the taxi driver came, God came to the gates and he opened the gates and he said, please come through to heaven. So the priest, he was waiting in queue. So then he came up to the gates and God said, no, you have to go back. He said, hey, how I have to go back? My whole life I spent talking about you, enlightening people about you. I spent my whole life sharing your message. How is it that I have to go back? God said, your whole life you were speaking about me, but every time you spoke about me, you sent people to sleep. He said, but what about the taxi driver? He said, when that guy was driving, everyone was praying to God. So please don't make me a taxi driver. I'll have to give up this ganja behind me and become a taxi driver. Please stay awake. There's an important message here. The Bhagavad-gita is eternally relevant. You see, the Bhagavad-gita is not a discussion between just Krishna and Arjuna. The Bhagavad-gita is a question and answer session between us and God. Because every single question that Arjuna asks Krishna is a question that you will ask at some point in your life, isn't it? Arjuna asks Krishna, how can I control my mind? Any of you have problems with that one? Arjuna asks Krishna, how can I be spiritual and at the same time live in this world with all my different responsibilities? I've asked that question. Arjuna asks Krishna, what are the qualities that will allow me to be successful in my life? I've asked that question. There are books and books about this. Arjuna asks Krishna, Why is it that sometimes I know the right thing to do, but I keep doing the wrong thing? Of course, that doesn't apply to any of you. Yes. Don't give up what you want most for what feels good now. Imagine we could learn how to do that. Our life would look very, very different. So people have this notion that you read the Bhagavad-gita when you're old. But what they don't understand is that the Bhagavad-gita is not just preparing you for the afterlife. The Bhagavad-gita is preparing you for the best here life, the now life. All of us have to make decisions. All of us have to navigate the complexity of life. And there's nothing in the world which teaches us how to do that. You all went to school. Many of you went to university. I also went to university. At university, they didn't tell me how to respond when you lose a loved one. Did you learn that at university? At university, did they teach you how to deal with a relationship breakup? Didn't teach you that one. At university, did they teach you how to deal with the reversals and the roller coaster journey of life? Didn't teach you that one. So this is the Hare Krishna temple, but I also call this the school of life. This is the place you come to learn the lessons of how to live and navigate this world. And therefore we're always going back to the Bhagavad-gita. In fact, Lord Shiva, he says to Parvati, Maline Mashanam Pumsham Jalashnanam Dine Dine Gita Shakre Pashishnanam Samsara Malanashanam. It's very simple Sanskrit. Jala means water. Shnanam means bath. Dine Dine means every day. Just as every day you take a bath with water to clean your body, similarly, Gita Shakrit Bhashi Shnanam, the Bhasha, isn't it? I'm sure some of you. Gujarati Bhasha, Hindi Bhasha, Canadian Bhasha. We all have Bhasha means language or words. So you should bathe your mind in the words of the Gita every single day in order to cleanse the mind, to cleanse the consciousness. Because we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And therefore you can't change the world, you can't change what happens around you, but what you can change is your vision. But what are we doing to upgrade our vision? Most people are trying to control the world, but they're not trying to upgrade their own vision. Therefore, we're continually coming back to the Bhagavad-gita. And what the Bhagavad-gita is teaching us is where to put our attention. I'll come to the Gita in a second. I remember the first time I came to the Hare Krishna temple, not the first time I came to a Hare Krishna temple to hear a lecture. Because I was coming to the temple for many, many years, but it was just for, not just, I shouldn't say just, it was mainly for darshan and prasadam. And then when I was 15, I started reading the Bhagavad-gita, but to be honest, I was finding it very difficult to understand. So I thought, let me sit in one of these lectures and see what these guys have to say. Maybe I'll learn something. And I have to say, I sat in one lecture of the Bhagavad-gita when I was about 15 or 16, and I learned more in that 1 hour than I learned in 1 year of study by myself. And then later on I heard Krishna mentions that. Tadvidi pranipadena pariprashne sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshina. Don't try and understand it yourself. You will not grasp the truth. You have to go to a tattvadarshi, one who has understood the truth, and they will reveal all to you. But in that first lecture, I remember one story they told me, and I still remember it to this day. It's the story of a king who had 4 wives. Have you ever heard this story? Yes. You heard this story, right? Some of you may not have heard it, so I'll tell it for old time's sake. There was a king who had 4 wives. By the way, we're not promoting polygamy here. It's just a story. Don't take it personally. The first wife was the one that he loved the most, the one that he gave his heart to, the one who he gave all his attention and gave her the best gifts and everything. The second wife was the one he took around everywhere to show off to the world. So whenever he would go to a party, whenever he would go to a social, he would go with that wife to show the world. The third wife was the wife that he revealed his heart to, the one that he would always speak to about his problems, his hopes, his fears. And the fourth wife was the one that he neglected, the one that he never really paid any attention to, the one that seemed to be there all the time, but that he never really gave any of his heart to. The king became older and older, and one day the king was on the verge of his death. So he was on the deathbed, and he called the first queen, the one that he gave his heart to, all his attention and time to. And he said to his first queen, I'm about to die, will you come with me? And she said, I'm leaving you. And he was crestfallen. He called the second queen, the one that he showed off to everyone in the world, the one he took to all the events and functions, all the marriages. Will you come with me? I'm about to die. And that queen said, I'm going to marry someone else. That was even more painful. You can leave me, but if you marry someone else, oh my God. The third queen was the one who he revealed his heart to, all the problems, all his hopes and fears, the one he would offload to. And that queen, he said, will you come with me? That queen said, I want to come, but I can only come as far as the crematorium. And then he thought, there's only one queen left. I didn't do anything for that queen, but let me see, let me try my luck. And when he called his fourth queen that he neglected, will you come with me? She said, there's no doubt. Even if you had not asked me, even if you had not expressed your desire, even if it was not your desire, still, I would have come with you. Because I made a commitment to you. And that commitment I can never break. So he was touched. The purport of the story is that the first queen represents our body. We do everything for this body. We aggrandize this body, we decorate this body. Mirror, mirror, on the wall. We do so much for this body. Our life revolves around the body, gratifying the body in so many ways. But at the time of death, your body stays there. Your body is burned, or your body is buried, or your body goes to the vultures. One way or the other, you can't take that body with you. The second queen, the one we show off to everyone, she marries someone else, because that represents all your wealth, all your possessions, all your titles, all your accolades, BSc, MSc, MAD. All the titles, they don't go with you. You have to leave them all behind. Even the spiritual titles. GBC, Temple President, Leader, Congregational, Sangha Leader, all of these titles, Sannyasi, all of those disappear. They marry someone else. But we carry those things around, showing it off to everyone else, feeling my life is a success. Just see, I am successful. I made it. Isn't it? Every Indian parent's dream. Doctor. When I was growing up, there were 3 options. Doctor, lawyer, or failure. But it all disappears. It all disappears in the waves of time. And it all goes to someone else. And then the ones we reveal our hearts to, our hopes, our dreams, they come as far as the crematorium. Yes, your family, your friends, who love you dearly, who you shared so much with, but they can only come so far. And then you have to walk the journey without them. But then, that one we neglected. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridese arjuna tisthati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. There is someone in your heart who has been walking with you every step of the journey. But the amazing thing is, although they're the closest one to us, they're the furthest away from our consciousness. Because we have become absorbed in the illusion, we've become absorbed in the other reality, and therefore, Krishna bahir mukha hoya bhogavan chakare nikata samaya tare japati adhare. Because he turned away from looking at that person who loves you dearly. Now we're entangled in the matrix, the illusion of the material world, in which no matter how much we try, things don't seem to always work out how we want it to work out. But Krishna comes, life after life, with us. And therefore, the goal of life, the meaning, is to somehow re-establish this connection with Krishna. We all desire to experience love in this world. Love is the universal pursuit. But if you look at the world today, it's mostly a case of frustrated love, isn't it? And if you don't believe me, just go into the music charts and listen to all the lyrics. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, and the very next day, threw it away. So much frustration. We seek to experience love, fulfillment of the heart. The person we made the vows to, we thought that would bring about love. Yes, the engagement ring, the wedding ring, and then the suffering. Of course, not all marriages are like that. I'm not advocating everyone to become a sannyasi, by the way. You can have a very happy marriage in the spiritual world. You can have your own stuff, it's possible. But it's rare, because nowadays people don't know how to relate to each other. Have you seen? There's very little love in the world. There's a lot of talk of love, but most people don't know what love is. One time I used to do book distribution, I still do book distribution, and later on we're going to tell you why everyone should have a copy of the Bhagavad-gita. It's coming. But one day I decided, every single person I stop on the street, I'm going to ask them, what is love? Can you define love to me? And I was so surprised. Nobody could actually tell me what love was. Nobody could actually do it. Yet this is what we seek. So these literatures like the Bhagavad-gita are basically teaching us what is love and how to find love. The Bhagavad-gita has 18 chapters, and it's said by one commentator, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says the Bhagavad-gita is like a jewel box. That's the metaphor that he gives. He says the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad-gita are like the base of the jewel box. And they are known as Karma Yoga. Then he says the final 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita are like the lid of the jewel box, and they are known as Jnana Yoga, yoga of knowledge or wisdom. And he says that inside the jewel box there is a ring, and that ring is represented by the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, which are all about Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means the yoga of love. So in essence, if anyone ever asks you, what does the Bhagavad Gita teach you? You can tell them, Karma Yoga, it teaches you how to live. Bhakti Yoga, it teaches you how to love. And Jnana Yoga, it teaches you how to let go. If you learn these 3 things, how to live, how to love, and how to let go, then you will not walk through this world, you will float through this world. This is the secret of the Bhagavad Gita. But the real jewel of the Bhagavad Gita is that the Gita is teaching us how to develop divine love. When you develop divine love for Krishna, you will be able to love everyone and everything around you unconditionally in a way that will satisfy your heart in the deepest way possible. If you look at all relationships in this world, all relationships fall into one of 4 categories. Some relationships are based on bhaya, or fear. I'm sure you can think of a relationship in your life which is based on fear. See some of the husbands looking at the wives. Fear. Sorry, there's a lot of marriage jokes today. Just sometimes coming out. Higher than that is when you have a relationship out of asha. What does asha mean? Desire. So many relationships in this world are transactional. We're in a relationship because you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. 2 for you, 10 for me. So many relationships like that are in the world, they're transactional. Asha. Then he said that higher than that are relationships in this world which are based on kartavya. What does kartavya mean? Duty. Because someone has done so many things for you, you feel gratitude. You feel a sense of indebtedness. Yes, they have done so much for me. I have a duty to them. I must also do something for them. But actually, what our acharyas, our teachers tell us is that these 3 reasons for a relationship don't actually constitute real relationship. Because higher than bhaya, higher than asha, and higher than kartavya is prema. When you relate to someone because you love them. When you relate to someone not because you're scared of them, not because you're indebted to them, not because you're trying to get something from them, but you love them because they're incredible and they're amazing and their personality is so enchanting, is so beautiful in all ways that you can't resist or want to do something for them. That is love. And therefore, in this world, most people don't even have one loving relationship with anyone else. Because if they look closely, then all relationships are tainted by fear, desire, and a sense of indebtedness and obligation. But where's the love? And the amazing thing that Krishna explains in the Bhagavad-gita is that when we relate to Him, when we relate to God, we can also relate in the same categories. Most people are just worshipping God because they're scared. If I don't worship God, He's going to mess up my life. So I better keep Him happy. Oh my God, I missed my prayers. I'm going to get cursed. Most people are like that. They are God-fearing. And then many people are relating to God to get something. They see God as the cosmic order supplier. They go in front of God with a shopping list. One time the Buddha was asked by one of his disciples, what's the difference between liking and loving? And the Buddha said, you see that flower? If you like it, then you'll go up to it, you'll pick it, you'll smell it, the whole tree becomes satisfied. And when you feed the stomach, the whole body becomes energized. And in the same way, when you direct your love to God, when you awaken that very pure relationship with the Divine, then naturally your relationship with everyone and everything in this world will naturally be infused with love. You can't love someone in a material way. Love is spiritual. Most of what people call love in the world today is simply physical attraction or emotional connection. But beyond the physical and the emotional is the spiritual. And therefore, if you really want to love someone, it goes beyond physicality and emotionality. Real love is based on seeing everyone as a spiritual being, everyone as connected to the Supreme. And because you have love for the Supreme, you naturally have love for everyone and everything, because they're part and parcel of the Supreme. So this is the science of love that most people don't learn about in the world, yet we seek love so much. And so this is why the Bhagavad-gita is so important, because everyone is running around looking for things. They're looking for the right things, but they're looking in the wrong places. This week we are going to be honoring the celebration of Krishna's most dear devotee, Srimati Radharani, her appearance in this world. Srimati Radharani ki Jai. And of all personalities, Srimati Radharani is the embodiment of love. There's only one thing which is greater than God. That is love for God and the personality who has love for God. They conquer even God. God is the Supreme, but He becomes conquered by love. And Srimati Radharani's love is so powerful that even Krishna becomes conquered by that love. Srimati Radharani's love is so powerful that it contradicts Krishna's words in the Bhagavad-gita. Did you know that? Because in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna said, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tamstate bhajamyaham. Krishna said, however you serve me, I'll reward you accordingly. But when Krishna came in front of Srimati Radharani, Krishna said, Napareham nirabadya samyujam swasadu krityam vibhuda vishampiva. Krishna said, I cannot repay you. No, but you said you'll reward accordingly. Srimati Radharani, you've given everything to me. You've sacrificed everything. You put your security, your chastity, your comfort, you put everything to one side. And when I played the flute, you just ran to me. And therefore, I have no way to repay you. You've contradicted my words in the Gita. Krishna in the Bhagavad-gita says, Vedaham savaditani vardhamani charjana bhavishyani chabhutani mamduvena kaschana. Krishna says, I know past, present, future, I know all living entities. But when Krishna came in front of Srimati Radharani, he said, I don't know. I don't know what kind of love you have for me. What kind of love is sitting in your heart for me, and the intensity of that love, I have no understanding. I will have to incarnate in this world as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and accept your mood to understand that love. Krishna's words contradicted. So in this way, in so many ways, Srimati Radharani is embodying pure love. And therefore, on this day of Radhastami, we are approaching Srimati Radharani and learning from her, becoming inspired by her, seeing her complete absorption in Krishna, and praying that one day may we have that absorption. One devotee came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, sometimes I forget Krishna. Prabhupada said, you always forget Krishna, and sometimes you remember him. We come in front of Srimati Radharani and ask the question, when will my mind be naturally attracted towards Krishna as your mind is? He said that one day in Vrindavan, all the gopis were together and they were sharing with each other, what did you dream about Krishna last night? So every gopi was telling every other gopi what they dreamt about Krishna, and Srimati Radharani was quiet. So after all of them had spoken, they came to Radharani and said, you're quiet. You please tell us, what did you dream about Krishna last night? Her head went down and she said, dream about Krishna. Dream about Krishna. All night I was thinking about Krishna, I couldn't go to sleep. That's love. Imagine one day you stay awake all night thinking about Krishna, and those thoughts are so powerful that they prevent you from going to sleep. That is love. And that is represented by Srimati Radharani. So Radharani, she is the one who worships Krishna in the most powerful way. And therefore, this week, we will be honoring that festival. All of you will come and you'll hear more about Srimati Radharani. But for today, let me conclude here and remind myself, first of all, and all of you, that we're all looking for love. But love begins with love for God, love for the divine. And when you develop that loving connection with the divine, then love will pervade all aspects of your life and all relationships. And in that way, you will experience the real fruit of what this life is meant for. Because a life without love is death. When there's love, then there's life. And in order for there to be love, there has to be Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Do you have some time for question? Very short time, so if there's no questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Let's give a bigger round of applause for understanding the importance of the teachings of the Bhagavad-gita and our wonderful scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm sorry we couldn't have time for questions, but Maharaj has kindly agreed to take up any questions if you'd like to meet him personally during the prasadam is being served. We request everyone to please hold. We're going to be serving prasadam a little late today as we have few announcements to go over. And we would like to especially speak about one of the books of His Holiness Swami Bhagavan H.H.S.B.Kesava Maharaj's books. Bhagavatam? Okay, we're going to pause this for now, but there is a special campaign called the Bhadra Purnima campaign, which is going to be happening, which is ongoing, and the Bhadra Purnima is scheduled for September 29th. I'm going to pass it over to Shambhavini Mataji to give us some more details and insights on this campaign, and we'll then have some announcements before prasadam is being served. So please welcome Shambhavini Mataji here with a big round of applause.
Hare Krishna. Today, Maharaj for enlivening us by showing us how the real happiness lies in true love, and love that means the transcendental knowledge. Maharaj himself has dedicated his life to sharing spiritual knowledge, and what better way to bring in Bhadra Purnima, because that's Maharaj, you've been inspiring so many devotees to distribute and live Srimad Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam. Thank you. So, transcendental knowledge, as we all heard, is the source of happiness in our life. And we're very fortunate that because of Srila Prabhupada,